Welcome to the third part of the book of this second chapter, The Science of Mind Management, written by Swami Mukundananda. In the last episode, we have seen a lot of stories. Let us continue from there. Anger destroys good judgment. We have seen how desire is like a two-edged sword. Its fulfillment leads to greed and its hindrance leads to anger. Angry. Once anger arises, it brings it with numerous other afflictions. Lord Krishna states that Krodhat bhavati sammohaha, sammohat smriti vibhramaha, smriti bhramshat buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashyati in the Bhagavad Gita 2.63, second chapter, 63 verse. The meaning of this verse is anger leads to the wheeling of judgment, which results in bewilderment of memory. When the memory is bewildered, the intellect gets destroyed, and when the intellect is destroyed, one is ruined. Anger clouds the intellect, just as the morning mist creates a hazy covering on sunlight. When the intellect is shrouded, it leads to bewilderment of memory. The person then forgets what is right and what is wrong and flows along with the surge of emotions. Bewilderment of memory results in destruction of the intellect. Since intellect is our eternal internal guide, when it gets destroyed, one is ruined. So let us move on to the one beautiful picture. Are you out of your mind? How dare you call me angry and uncontrolled? These are the questions you might have asked to someone else. In this manner, a host of mental afflictions arise from desire. Now let us look the reverse of this. If we eradicate desire, greed will naturally disappear and so will anger. In that case, none of the other sequential afflictions after anger will arise. The mind will be mastered merely by the conquest of desire. If desire is the cause of all the problems, let us see what is it that gives rise to desire. The malady of attachment. We all experience different desires. While reading this book, someone's mind may wander to drink tea. Another's mind may start thinking of cricket, while yet another's mind may ramble towards her child. Why is it that the mind of individuals generates such dissimilar desires? What is the causing this variety of cravings? One person desires prestige to the extent that he is willing to give 15 lectures a day to get elected. Another desires money to the extent that he neglects his family to earn it. The third desires his paramount and he is willing to sacrifice all his wealth on her. Where does desire originate from? Ask yourself, where does desire originate from? The answer is that when our mind is attached to something, we experience desire for it. When our mind is attached to something, we experience desire towards it. The cause of desire is attachment. The mind is a frequent visitor to the things and the people it is most devoted to. In other words, if one is attached to the alcohol, the desire for alcohol comes frequently to the mind. If attached to cigarettes, then thoughts of pleasure of the smoking cigarettes continually flow in the mind, creating a craving for them. In this way, attachment leads to desire. This point may seem to go against common sense. If it would seem logical to think that the intrinsic qualities of an object make us desire it, but this is really not the case. For example, alcohol has no attractive aroma. It is foul smelling and obnoxious. And the very first time we taste it, we actually do not like it. Don't ask me, I didn't taste it. Yet, the same foul smell is so enticing to an alcoholic that when he passes by the pub, he begins swaying. The odor of alcohol, which makes one want to vomit, sparks the other's craving. The difference is due to attachment. The alcohol's craving is coming from his attachment to alcohol. Let us take another example. Is the smoke from cigarettes pleasant or filthy? You may say, it is awful. It makes me want to turn around and go the other way. Then, why is so attracted to the addict? Because of his own attachment to it. It is not the intrinsic property of cigarettes, but the attachment within the addict's mind that creates a craving for them. Let me repeat this for emphasis. It is our attachment to an object. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha. It is our attachment to an object, not its intrinsic properties, which create desire for it. Let me cite another example. It is a story time. Listen to the story. A mother lost her child in a fair, like a exhibition. She went to the police booth and filed a complaint about her missing child. The policeman said, "Mother, 4 lost and found children have been brought to our booth. See which of these kids is yours." The mother looked at all of them and responded, "None of these is my child." "But you saw such beautiful children," said the policeman. "Why don't you pick any of them and hug her with maternal affection? Why are you hankering for your child alone?" The mother replied, "Mr. Policeman, you will never understand the heart of a mother. I will only be able to sleep after I see my little child." The mother does not want beauty here. She wants her child to whom her mind is attached. Thus, the cause of desire is determined. It is attachment. What is the cause of desire? Attachment. The full link is now clear. If we harbor attachment, it will lead to desire. From desire will rise anger and greed. From anger will arise subsequent afflictions like illusion. Conversely, if can eliminate attachment, there will be no scope for desire, and all subsequent afflictions will automatically stop, cease. This brings us to the $1,000,000 question. What is the cause of attachment? The next section will explain that. The impact of repetitive thinking. Not everyone's mind is attached to the same thing. Someone is so committed to golf that his wife is practically a golf widow. The other is so attached to his wife that he spends all his money on pleasing her. The third is so devoted to the money that he has no time to spend with his family. We all have different attachments. Let us try to understand their source. When our mind repeatedly revises the thought, there is happiness in this object, there is happiness in this person, our mind develops attachment to that person or that object. For example, in a class, many boys and girls interact innocuously with each other. One day, one boy notices something about a girl and starts thinking, "I would be very happy if she were mine." As he continuously repeats this thought, his mind becomes attached to her. He tells his friends and he is madly in love with her, and he is unable to study because his mind repeatedly thinks about her. His friends ridicule him that they all interact with her in class, but none of them is crazy about her. Why is he losing his sleep and ruining his grades thinking of her? The reason is that he repeatedly contemplated happiness in the girl, and as a result, his mind became attached to her. Let us take another example. Consider a second example illustrating how attachment develops. How does one become attached to alcohol? There is no one who says in the beginning itself, "Get me the bottle, I cannot live without it." No one says in the starting. Rather, on the first day, alcohol tastes awful and people force themselves to drink it. Nevertheless, their friends convince them, "We all get great pleasure from whiskey, drink and enjoy life." This is the starting point. Ill advised by others, a person thinks that my friends are loving it, I will too. He tries a drink and gets a tiny kick from the inebriation of the brain. The person begins contemplating happiness in the feeling of mental lightness. The more he consumes alcohol, the more he contemplates happiness in it. And the deeper the attachment grows until finally he becomes an alcoholic. Then the same person who had forced himself to drink on the first day now says, I do not care about my family. Let my business get ruined. Never mind if my liver is spoiled, but give me the fifth peg of vodka. I cannot live without it. How does this transformation take place? It was his own repeated thinking of happiness in alcohol that led to the addiction. Now the full link is clear. This chain of causation is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, 62 verse. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu pajhayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho bhijayate. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha. By repeated contemplation of happiness, sangasteshu pajayate. Happiness in the objects of the senses. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. One develops attachment to it. And kamat krodho bijayate. Attachment creates desire, and from desire arises anger. This is the meaning of the verse. Why we all seek happiness? We have seen how the chain of mental afflictions begin with the contemplation of happiness. Let us now come to the last link in this chain. Why do we seek happiness? Just pause this video and answer yourself. Why do you seek happiness? You try to find it in your family, in your work, in your hobbies, in your activities, in everything else you do. Yet it eludes you. Even after so many disappointments, why do you not stop seeking happiness? The Vedas states like this: Anando Brahmeti Vyajanat. Anando Brahmeti Vyajanat. Know God to be one of the nature of bliss. The Supreme Lord is an infinite ocean of the divine bliss, and we as a souls are his fragmental parts. Remember that we as a soul are his fragmental parts. By nature, each part is spontaneously attracted towards its source. A lump of mud is a part of the earth and is pulled towards it by its force of gravity. A lump of mud is a part of the earth and is pulled towards it by the force of gravity. A river is created by water vapor arising from the sea and it flows back into the sea. Similarly, we souls as a soul are little drops of the ocean of infinite happiness, and hence our natural propensity is to seek bliss, seek happiness. Until we get that infinite happiness of God, we will not be content. In other words, until the part, our tiny soul, attains the whole, the supreme soul, we will not stop our quest for happiness. Somewhere or the other, we will contemplate bliss, and once that happens, the whole chain of attachment, desire, anger, and greed will naturally follow. We have understood that to seek happiness is our inherent nature. To seek bliss, you cannot change it. How then can we arise from above these mental afflictions? The solution to this problem is actually very simple. Replace lower attachments with the higher ones. The urge for happiness is as natural to the soul as thirst is to the physical body. It is impossible to think, I will not contemplate happiness anywhere. The simple solution then is to envision happiness in beneficial things. Cultivate virtuous desires such as the desire for inner growth, desire for the inner growth, desire for the austerity, desire for the service, desire for the sacrifice. Let us take an example. For example, if you repeatedly think that happiness is in becoming wise, wisdom, you will become attached to the good knowledge. This will lead to the yearning to the gather more knowledge. The desire for knowledge, which is good, will not bind you. Rather, it will uplift you. Similarly, if you contemplate happiness in good health, you will become devoted to it. This will make you crave wellness for yourself. Such desire will only help you become more healthier. The same principle can be used to develop love for the Supreme. If you repeatedly think that happiness is in the Supreme Divine Lord, you will become attached to Him. The mind will then hanker for the Supreme Lord. The Srimad Bhagavatam states like this: 11th canto, 14th chapter, 27 verse. Vishayan dhyayatash chittam Vishayeshu Vishajjate Mam Anushmarats Chittam Mayeva Praviliyate. You repeatedly thought of the pleasures in the objects of senses and become attached to them. Now frequently think that God is the ocean of the infinite bliss, and you will develop devotion towards Him. The process is the same. We only need to change the direction. Saint Ramakrishna Paramahamsa expressed this principle very eloquently when he said, "Devotion is love for the highest, and the lowest shall fall away by itself." The great saints in the history were not free from desire. Instead, their desire was millions of times stronger than ours. The only difference was that while we desired the world, they desired to love the Lord with all their heart and serve Him with every act. Attachment to the Supreme does not spoil the mind like material attachment, rather, it purifies the mind. God is all pure, and when we attach our mind to Him, it gets cleansed. The Bhagavad Gita says like this in the chapter number 14, 26th shloka: Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Mam chayo avyabhicharena. Those who attach their minds to me with unadulterated devotion. Avyabhicharena means unadulterated, which is not deviated. Bhakti yogena sevate. Devotion. Whoever mind is attached with the unadulterated devotion. Sagunan samityaitan. The three modes of material nature. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Brahma means the Supreme Brahman, Lord. Bhuyaya kalpate means they attain the level of the Supreme Brahman. Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samitityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Those who attach their minds to me with unadulterated devotion rise above the three modes of material nature and attain the level of the Supreme Brahman. While material desires bind the soul, noble desires uplift you. Where does that leave anger and greed? Let us move on to the next topic. Make anger as your friend. Make anger as your friend. We have seen that desire leads to anger and greed. It's a mother of anger and greed. The desire for noble things is no exception to this rule. When it is not fulfilled, the devotee also feels anger. The key is to channel this anger in the proper direction. Thus, in the Ramayana, a devotee of Lord Rama says like this: Ha Raghunandana prana pirite tumha binu jiyata bahuta dinadhite. O Lord Rama, how heartless I am that without your devotion I still continue to live. How heartless I am that without your devotion I still continue to live. When anger is directed constructively, it propels you more rapidly on the upward path. If you become angry at yourself for the lack of improvement, you strive to try harder. You refuse to compromise and prod your mind forward and upward. In this way, by channeling anger in the proper manner, you can make it as your friend. Second side of the coin, make your greed as your friend. You have learned that the fulfillment of desire leads to greed. Similarly, sublime desires lead to the divine greed. The devotee yearns for more devotion, more divine knowledge, and more service. Such greed is very helpful since it keeps one hungry for their further progress. In this fashion, a devotee says that Sita Rama Charana Ratimoren Anudina Barhau Anugrahatoren, said in the Ramayana. O Sita Rama, I pray that my loving devotion at your feet may increase every day and night. This is the sublime greed which is no longer detrimental. Instead, it elevates one to even greater spiritual heights. Then what about envy? Like the rest, if it is properly oriented, it becomes helpful. When we see others ahead of us in the spiritual growth, we should think she began attending JK Yoga's life transformation programs along with me. She has progressed so rapidly and developed such immense patience and tolerance. Why am I left behind? Don't feel the jealousy of others, but why am I left behind? Ask yourself, why am I left behind? I too must try harder for self improvement. That's way you can channelize your jealous. Next, make your pride as your friend. The biggest of all material defects is pride, which is extremely difficult to overcome. People become scholars of the scriptures and masters of austerity and yet remain full of pride. Once again, the ego can neutralized easily by dovetailing it towards the Supreme. Expressing the sentiment, Hanuman says like this in the Ramayana. Lord Hanuman, you know, right? He says like this: Asa abhimana jai jani bhore मैं सेवका रघुपति पति मोरे. May this pride never leave me that my master is the great Lord Rama and I am the servant of such a great master. Imagine that great personality of Hanuman himself saying that he is the servant of such a great master Lord Rama. Pride in the Lord strengthens faith and enthusiasm for devotion. We have seen how all the mental afflictions, the worst enemies within us, become our best friends when they are properly directed. This is the powerful information and for changing yourself. Now, for internal transformation to be permanent and not fleeting, we must tap into the power of habits. Habits are the one of the purest way to transformation. How do we dismantle old habits, bad habits, and develop the beneficial ones, good habits? Let us discuss how we can install great habits within yourself, within myself, within ourselves. Let us summarize the few main points of this second chapter, last 3 episodes. First thing is, like physical diseases, there are also diseases of the mind. Anger, greed, desire, envy, and pride, among other human failings, are all mental afflictions or mental diseases. They are far more impactful than the bodily ailments, bodily diseases. Second point is, anger does not come by itself. It is caused when we harbor a desire and its fulfillment is obstructed. Third point is, desire is such a disease that it can never be satiated. The more we fulfill it, the more it gets inflamed. The more you fulfill, the more you get inflamed. Hence, greed comes from the satiation of the desire. Desire arouses out of attachment to the objects or people is the most important lesson that you need to understand it properly. Desire arises out of attachment. Attachment happens when we repeatedly contemplate happiness somewhere. It is impossible for the soul not to contemplate happiness. Like, to abstract happiness, it's not possible. The ocean of happiness is God Himself. And since the soul is a part of the God, it is naturally seeks the happiness. The solution then is to seek happiness in the proper direction. Repeated contemplation of happiness in God will lead to attachment to Him. This will result in dovetailing desires in the direction of God. Since the God is all pure, desire for Him does not degrade the mind. Rather, it becomes purified in devotion to Him. So let us move on to the next chapter, the power of habits, in the next episode. Until then, stay connected. Write down the points wherever you feel desire, wherever you are feeling attachment towards, and what is the main key takeaway that you can take it from this episode and you want to implement in your life, in the comments below.